January 16th, 2018. I would love to move to the Bahamas. Today, I got this interesting invite. Dear Carole, Jamie, and Susan, I am the new British Chief Technology Officer, CTO, of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, GBPA, and work directly with its president, Ian Rolle, the R-O-L-L-E, Rolle, the Minister of State, Kwasi Thomson, and the Minister of Tourism. The Grand Bahama Port Authority administrates the sovereign city of Freeport and acts as a government within a government on the island of Grand Bahama, owning approximately 235 square miles of land, which reminds me a lot of my own time in Africa. We are only 52 miles from West Palm Beach and can see the lights of the U.S. coast from the west end of the island. We recently had our American design agency here for a field trip, and we all remarked how the place looked like a safari park. We already have a world-renowned dolphin sanctuary here, which prides itself on its ethics, and the Discovery Channel can regularly be found filming the coast. As part of a huge regeneration project this year underway to refurbish the beaches, we have been discussing the idea of establishing a home for big cats on the island. Bahamians are famous for their deep love of animals and the ecosystem in general, with the islands being the world's fishing and sailing capitals. After 14 years of waiting, we are lighting a fire under the need for development and need to make some dramatic changes. However, we have little to no current knowledge of whether the landform itself would be suitable habitat for a conservation project. The ground is largely limestone and covered in casuarina pine forests, grassland, and palm scrub. That said, I have it directly from the president that any modification needed would be welcome and supported. To me, the entire place looks like lion country, particularly the forests. We have been working with a few academic researchers and specialists in the field to determine which, if any, animals we might be able to accommodate. We have a large workforce who would be eager to contribute. I have it on direct authority from the president and MOT that we would be open and willing to donate a very large amount of land to the initiative, entirely free of charge, to enable us to reach further to our goal of regenerating the island through tourism and technology. GBPA has absolute authority over the free trade zone area and does not need government approval for conveyance or other such hurdles. Obviously, we have no clear idea of your needs or whether it would even be an attractive offer in the first place. Would you be interested in accepting a fully paid invitation to come to Grand Bahama, or for us to travel to you to discuss such a proposition? Yours, Alex Cameron, Chief Technology Officer, GBPA, and I give his phone number. So this was my reply. Hi, Alex. Well, your email is certainly the most interesting thing that has come across my desk this week. I've looped in my husband, Howard, and our Director of Research, Lauren. Can you clarify for me if the goal is to create a contained wildlife park for tourism purposes, or if you are thinking to rewild the entire island by introducing species who were native at one time but no longer thrive there? I'm not aware of any cat species that were ever native to Grand Bahama, and introducing them to run at large could dramatically impair your ecosystem. How much land are you thinking to devote to this? I really love the idea of huge expanses where wild cats can roam, but they are all solitary by nature, except for lions who are related, so it could be difficult to see a single cat on several acres of land. I'm really interested to know more. Then Alex responded, Good evening, guys. That's wonderful to hear, and glad I could put a smile on your face if I raised an eyebrow. Ian, the president, and I were talking today, and his son is actually in his second semester at Tampa University, so he's planning to visit you regardless. We both absolutely love big cats. Unfortunately, I can't visit, as my spouse's U.S. green card is still processing. I appreciate that it must be a strange email to receive, and a strange idea. We're absolutely looking at some very radical concepts. The goal is ultimately a contained wildlife tourism park rather than any form of native species introduction, and we are definitely in the exploratory phase, looking at the scientific and political issues. Our American design agency, I got a typo there. Our American design agency are really pushing for a whole range of African animals, but one step at a time. A good resource to start with is map.gbpa as to the Freeport boundary area we're in sovereign control of. And it gives another URL. You can download the actual geographic data with building footprint and subdivisions. Go to Data on the menu tab. That said, I know the government are highly interested in developing the eastern side, so we wouldn't experience significant pushback. In terms of the land area, we aren't sure because we don't know the exact requirement, but I should expect it would be in the range of at least a few hundred acres. Freeport has had its fair share of tragedies in the last 15 years, and the island is really hurting. The things we do have are land, imagination, a love of animals, and a heart for God. The target is beaches, lions, and dolphins. It's the royal flush. Yours, Alex. I'm looking at real estate already. And then this next part. Well, I think the I'm looking at real estate already came from me as a comment to myself. And then this next part says, jealousy isn't a part of our lives. I've been meaning to write something to Howie spelling out all of the things about him that I love. I haven't done it because it's going to be a long list and will take some time to fully show my appreciation for him. One of the things I love most about our relationship is the lack of jealousy. Tim, who I haven't seen since my father died because I only see him on the back row of the Citrus Park Church of Christ, still sends me gifts. Apparently, he can't pass up a deal, so anytime he sees a cat picture or a stuffed tiger toy, he feels compelled to buy it and send it to me via my mother. Howie knows I went out on one date that I can recall, back in the 80s, I think, and he knows that Tim would sit on the back row with me and my parents and usually others in between us every Sunday. Howie picked up my mail yesterday at Big Cat Rescue, along with the exquisite cheetah print in a ridiculously expensive frame that Tim probably paid $1 for at a yard sale. And seeing the note from my mom about who it was from, commented on what a nice print it was. Not a hint of suspicion in his voice, because I know he knows me. On the flip side, Howie frequently goes off for 2 to 4 days at a time to play golf with the boys, or even to stay with Pat Hankin and his daughter Charlotte. I know they are just friends, and I have no reason to ever suspect him of any misconduct. It's a comfortable relationship. Of late, my social network fans, who are mostly middle-aged and older women, have been showering me with gifts. Barbara has given me an expensive, one-of-a-kind necklace and earring sets that look as if they came from impassioned lovers. Lee creates quilts for Jamie and I that feature gorgeous cat images and such fine detail work that they look as though it took months to create them. Deb never lets me run out of my favorite coffee. I created a handmade quilt of fuchsia and seafoam green butterflies, along with so many other little gifts, including this one in 2022, that I've lost track. She was the one who found this photo of me online and asked who the tiger was. I think it was Snorkel or Flavio, but that's from around 2009 or 2010 when I was last thin, so I have forgotten. I want so badly to look this way for Howie. I've tried every diet you can imagine. Since last August, I've been eating Vistro meals almost exclusively. It's a vegan diet plan of all natural foods that have been frozen. They arrive in 2-week shipments, and I almost never eat anything other than the meals, except a handful of nuts midday and a handful of rice chips at night. I keep trying to cut out the nuts and the chips, but I am so hungry I just can't stand it. Yeah, so that's saying I was doing that since August of 2017. I'm still doing that. 2 meals a day, 800 calories a day, and I look like this. It's gotta be stress. Yeah, maybe I should move to the Bahamas now. So I don't know if I'm going to talk about this later, about what happened with the Bahamas, but there were a number of things at play here, and not least of which is trying to move as many cats as we have. But another thing that really worried me about this location is that it floods, and it floods badly when it floods. And I just don't want my cats in the path of a hurricane in a place where they can't get up out of the water. So that was the primary reason why we decided not to move to the Bahamas, although it looked beautiful on the surface. Maybe we'll talk about it more later, I don't know. If you're enjoying my diary, please like, share, and subscribe. You can find other ways to connect to me over at bigcatrescue.org/Carole.Baskin.